My very first live stream. I had been talking about doing this and thinking about doing this, but I don't know, it's my very first time, and I figured this would be a good chance to just kind of talk a little bit about this channel, a little bit about where I'm at and who I am, and right now I'm talking into the abyss, but that's okay. If you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts, anything, I'm here to give horrible advice or good advice, or who knows, just advice in general. And maybe I won't even do this too long. But for now, I'm just going to kind of talk and see where it goes. This channel is mostly about quitting different addictions, things that are holding you back, problems you might be having. I know I have plenty of them, and I'm not very good at necessarily always solving them, but over time, I feel like more and more of them get solved, so here we are. This is the first time I've posted on this channel in a long time. I posted a video earlier today, and I used to be much more active on it, but it started to kind of take over and feel like it was becoming too much. And also it's like an addiction recovery channel, and I was, smoking a little at the time. I haven't drank at all this year, which has been good. That's about it. Hello to the one person watching me right now. If you have a question or a comment or anything, that's what this is for. Who is Kyle Spencer? Hello, Kyle Spencer. Do I know you? I'm happy to talk about different things, but I just wanted to kind of know if I know you. Well, I guess my relationship with Christianity and stuff in general, I was raised incredibly religious. I grew up that way. And then, oh, nice. I grew up that way, incredibly religious, and I was actually an atheist for a long time. And coincidentally, my life got way more stressful, and I got a lot more depressed and stuff at that same time. My relationship now is a little different. What's up, Jameson Hendricks? My relationship now is a little bit different. I don't know 1,000% exactly what I believe, because I don't know that anybody can be 1,000% sure. I do know that when I have lived my life in the way that Jesus would want, or if Jesus is the representation of like the ultimate good or love or something like that, then I could see how that can be a really good applicable thing. I think a lot of people use it for horrible reasons and all kinds of stuff. But for me, I have found that a faith in something greater than myself has had a dramatic positive effect on my life. Please, hello everyone. So yeah, I mean, for if you guys have any questions also specifically about mental health, anything like that, I am somebody that just a few years ago was dangerously suicidal, was depressed all the time, and that is not something that is applicable to my life at this point. And I did not get on any medication. I did not do anything like that. It was all just by being able to learn a lot of new things about myself. And for me, the biggest thing was being able to be honest with myself. I think we lie to ourselves a lot. Well, Kyle, I appreciate that you believe that, and maybe you're right. I have no idea. But either way, let's say like whether that's true or not, right? Like even if Jesus does not come back or any of the, depending on whatever anyone believes, we only have a certain amount of days no matter what, right? Like you, me, like all of us, we never know when the last day is. For those of you who do not know, I have a pretty serious, and when I say pretty serious, that's kind of an understatement, heart condition. My heart does not pump on its own. It has no ability to beat on its own. I have a machine, pacemaker defibrillator, that the pacemaker goes 100% of the time. And the machine has malfunctioned a bunch. And that's been incredibly terrifying at different times in my life and scary. But those types of things, have given me a blessing in disguise and allowed me to really, truly enjoy every day in a way that I feel like a lot of other people have not had that opportunity. It's the blessing of a breakdown, I like to call it. It's one of those things like for me, I know that if I'm smoking, that it's going to only end my life earlier. It's only going to hurt my heart more. But then I go through the thoughts of like, okay, well, every time I quit smoking, I get stressed at first, and that's not good for my heart either. I found a very happy middle ground for me at this point, where I feel as though sometimes I'm drinking these like CBD, THC drinks, but I'm not smoking, and that has been a really good. That's been a good thing for me. Um, yeah, anyone could die at any point, and I think it's really important to also note that like there's like we live a ton of like deaths all throughout our lives, right? Like one of the things that helped me get through feeling suicidal and stuff in the past was realizing like I didn't actually want to kill myself. I wanted to kill certain aspects of me that was causing me to feel this way. And a lot of times what I've come to realize is anxiety is our body trying to tell us something. And we will sometimes just be like, well, it's my anxiety. When I'm genuinely honest with myself, there's really not a single time that I'm anxious about something that it's not because of something I'm either doing or not doing. Whether it is, you know, I'm anxious about money. Well, the real reason I'm anxious about the money is because I haven't been wise in the past, or as wise as I could be with money. If I'm anxious about a gig or about the turnout of something, like it's because I know deep down I didn't put in the amount of work that I knew I could. Now, on the flip side, that causes me to sometimes become very self-critical, and you know, so there has to be a healthy balance. Um, I really, for me, those drinks, it does feel like it calms me down, but it is not like when I smoke weed and all of a sudden I'm super high and stuff like that. For me, it's not even the high; it's the smoke that's the biggest problem for me. And also the like ripping a bong and stuff. It gets you this really, really quick, fast dose of something really strong. Whereas for me, the best way to have tapered off was to try to switch into having these Delta drinks. That's actually what the name of them are, and I wouldn't recommend them for everybody. But they actually, it's Delta Light, so it's literally a very small dose, and it's mostly if I'm having a day where I feel like I'm panicking or anxious and stuff like that. It really helps. It's hard because with my job, I have to entertain people for a living. That's what I do. So I there's times where I cannot even get out of my head. I'm so either anxious or nervous or just like I don't want to be there. I want to be home with my wife. I don't, like, and sometimes that stuff is enough to get me through to just be able to actually perform and focus and have a good time. And is it a long-term solution? No, not at all. It's not what I want to do long-term, but it has absolutely been a really good step where I don't crave smoking anymore. I don't crave where I'm sitting right now. This was my smoking spot for so long. I would sit here at night and smoke, and it doesn't feel that way. I don't have that desire now, which has been really truly a blessing. So but my journey is mine, and it's this for me all the time when I with the weed thing. But where I am at right now is I'm at peace, and that is the number one thing for me right now, is protecting my peace. There's been a lot of things in my life that have come to take it from me, and weed is one of them. Uh, a lot of the mental issues that I think I have is the direct result of long-term habitual marijuana use. And that's okay. I understand that. And that was a decision I made, and I'll live with the consequences now. But, I find that I don't know that I will ever smoke anything again. Like the actual smoke of it. I feel very content because also I think that that's the main thing that I have been addicted to, is the act of smoking. I never would eat edibles. I would never, like the pens, like any of that stuff. It was very much that physical action of sitting there and smoking a bong. It wasn't even like joints like I did. It was specific. It was a very specific action that I feel like my addiction is really rooted in. And but who knows? I'm learning. This is a journey, right? And right now, what I can say is at this point on the journey, I am at peace. And that to me is the most important thing for myself, for my mental health, for my family. And it feels pretty good. And so in general, although this channel has been mostly, quitting weed and stuff like that, I think in general, I'm kind of trying to delve more into quitting any of the things that are holding us back from living our most fulfilled life. Um, I and there's tons of things with that. This cell phone is one of them. This channel was one of them. When I was trying to make sure my thumbnails looked a certain way or make sure I looked a certain way in the videos and stuff like that, it was literally taking away the point of why I started doing this stuff in the first place. And so now I'm not worried about that stuff. I'm going to just try to be as transparent as I can. That's why I'm trying to do more of this live stuff. How do you be a good dad? I have a 10-month-old son right now. Oh, well, this is something that I do feel qualified to talk about. My daughter is 4.5 now. A good dad is such a subjective thing, right? It might look different to every child, but I can say for me, like, taking care of your mental health is the number one thing, right? Because you can't show up for your child if you're not there for yourself. And so, like, for me, being like whatever it takes to make sure I am mentally present is super important. Not being on my phone around her a lot is absolutely super important. Trying to make sure, okay, so like for me, so I work weekends. Like I said, I'm a musician, I perform, and I work for myself. So a lot of times I'm juggling a lot of things. Monday is my day for my daughter. No one can contact me on my phone. They know this. No one can, I am not available. I am off the earth Mondays. The only person I'm available for is like, my family and specifically my daughter. If we're going to go to the trampoline park or to the pool or whatever we're going to do, she knows she has my entire attention for that day. We call it Daddy Addy Days. And she looks forward to it and I look forward to it. There are times where I'm away on the weekend and I'm having a really stressful time and I'm just so excited to come back because I know I have this day for her, but also for me, for a rest for me, where I'm able to know that I can disconnect for one day. And you were talking about being religious and stuff. To me, it's almost like keeping a Sabbath. It's like keeping a one day a week where I really am not working and I'm not letting people contact me. Unless it is an absolute dire emergency, and this is something I need to get better at. I was like, so this week, I actually physically did not have my phone the whole day. So Sunday night before I went to bed, I turned my phone off and I did not turn it on again until Tuesday morning. And it was amazing. It literally, I have not felt peace like that in years. And I'm looking for, next week, I'm going to try to do an entire week fast from my phone. It's going to be very hard. I'm going to have my wife be kind of a secretary, so if there's something that absolutely I do need to know, like for example, Saturday, my band's playing a wedding, a very, very high-end wedding, and like, I can't just not, if the bride or groom needs to get a hold of me, I have to be able to be available. So there is that balance, but for me, like the best thing I can do as a father is be honest with her, let her know that I make mistakes, and let her know that she can be honest with me, right? Like I tell her all the time, if she comes to me and is honest about stuff, and especially in times where I know that it's hard, she's going to be, I will never be angry at her for being honest with me in a situation where it's difficult. Even if I'm disappointed or upset, I've let her know from the very beginning she does not have to lie to me. And I see her cousins, they're all around the same age. They all lie. She is very forthcoming with her word. And to me, that is such an important thing. What's up, Richard? Yeah, my daughter is the best thing in the world to me. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons that I don't want to always smell like weed. I don't want to always be high. And I don't want it to be that when she's older, she smells weed and it gives her this positive memory of her father. It's not what I want at all. And so for me, for right now, my dad, he drank and stuff a lot before I was born. And from the time I was born until the time my nephew was born, so my sister's child. So from the time he became a dad till the time he became a grandfather, he never drank. We never saw him drink anything. He would smoke cigars sometimes, but he did not touch alcohol. And then the day he became a grandfather, my brother and I were talking about going to do shots at the bar to celebrate. And he was like, I'm going to come with you. And we all did a shot together. And he still drinks now, probably the most out of anyone in our family now. And it's very interesting because he didn't drink for years and years and years. And to the point that, like, when I grew up, I just thought that I would not have an addictive personality, or like addiction didn't run in my family, so it wouldn't bother me, because they never talked to us about this stuff. We did not know that my dad had went through these struggles himself when he was younger. And but that was honestly, even though now he does, I mean, he's 67. Like, it's not like he's drinking like all the time. It's just he has a drink before he goes to bed and stuff. But like, even the fact that he was able to do that, like, that was incredibly encouraging to me. And that, you know, that's something I want to be able to do to my daughter. How can I tell her I don't think it's good if she drinks and smokes and stuff if I'm doing that? Now, I have not had a single drink this entire year. My wife and I decided at the end of last year, we're just done with it. There's no need for it. And honestly, neither one of us were really drinkers to begin with. The only time I would start to drink more is whenever I would quit smoking, if I didn't also quit drinking. So this has been great for me. I don't crave alcohol at all. That's so easy for me. The drinks that I'm doing with the THC, they're very light dose, and it's just enough. And I'm being upfront about it. But it is keeping me from consuming any smoke, which that's what's damaging my voice, my throat, and it's giving me this super massive dose of THC all at the same time. So, oh my gosh, 3 kids at that close together. That's awesome, man. My wife and I tried for a really long time. We thought that we could not have a kid, and randomly got pregnant with our daughter, and we've been trying pretty much ever since, and have not been able to have a second child. Turns out I have been putting it in the wrong hole this entire time. So we figured that out, and now hopefully it'll get better. But no, for real though, it's been a little bit of a challenge. But whatever happens, happens. I have. I mean, this past 6 months of my life has been wild. I was working at a church for a long time, and some really serious stuff happened that involved kids that I was made aware of, that I found out, and I had to resign immediately. And I had a meeting with everyone, but it was basically, I feel as though there was a very serious thing happening. The church was clearly trying to get it to go away without people finding out, and it was horrible. And I went very public about it and quit very suddenly. But my income cut in half. The things that were important to me, my closest friends, all of that was gone in an instant, and it really, really, really damaged my mental health. The people that I thought were a certain way were the exact opposite, and it changed everything I saw about that. And so that would have been a time where it would have been easy to start drinking or start smoking a lot and all of that stuff. And instead, I feel as though I was rescued from that situation. And I'm so glad that the person that made me aware of it at the time that they did, because I genuinely believe I was rescued from that. So that's been really good. So it's, if you guys have specific things you're going through that you'd like to ask me about, I was talking a little bit in the beginning. A couple years ago, 2021, I was dangerously suicidal. I actually did try to take my own life at one point. And I don't feel that at all in any way anymore. That's such a foreign feeling for me. And I never got on any medication. I never did anything other than work on myself and start to be honest with myself. So if you have anonymous, or, I don't know any of you. So if you feel like you need some advice about anything that's going on in your life, I can't promise my advice is good. I'm not a licensed psychiatrist or anything. I did go to school partially for sociology, and I really like studying this stuff, but more so I am just somebody that has had a very strange life. My heart, and I'm still here, and I'm still doing okay. So, I want to be able to pass some of the things I've learned to other people. So, I don't know. That's where we're at. You were an addict, or I've been only addicted to marijuana. It's very interesting. I mean, I've been addicted to other things too, like my phone, stuff like that. But as far as drugs go, it's only been marijuana, which has honestly made it really hard in a lot of times. Because of my heart problem, I've never tried any hard drugs. I've done mushrooms before when I was younger, but just a couple times. It was, and that's not really something people get addicted to. That's where I was kind of what I was talking about earlier about certain blessings in disguise. being a musician and knowing the people I know and stuff like that, and knowing what drugs have been offered to me throughout my career, had I not had this heart condition, which makes it very easy to say no. Like even the craziest dealer in the world isn't going to argue if you say, sorry, I was born with a heart condition, I absolutely can't have that stuff. Nobody's even going to question it or give you a hard time for it. The only thing I mean, I am wildly addicted to marijuana. When I like, and it's not even just marijuana, it's like the smoking of weed. But because like I could have like as many edibles as someone could possibly have sitting in my house, and if I don't have actual flour, like the edibles are irrelevant. That's awesome about the being a heroin not about being a heroin addict, but being clean. We actually were just if you go through my channel, my best friend was a heroin addict and he passed away, and I actually interviewed his mom on this channel, and it's one of the hardest conversations I've ever had. We cried through the whole thing, but it's on here. If you go to the channel, you can find that video. He was he was my roommate, one of the best friends I've ever had, and also one of the most dangerous people I let into my life. Not because of anything against him, but because of his addiction. And honestly, he was one of the most important people to come into my life because I saw a lot of myself in him, and he allowed me to see for the first time from an outside point of view a lot of the things that I was also doing. For example, like if he would, like he'd have a girlfriend and then he'd have a different girl randomly come over and he'd cheat on his girlfriend with this girl, and I would be like, how could he possibly do that? Like, that's so lame. I would never be able to do that. You know, but I did, man, but I would talk to this. I do talk to girls while I have a girlfriend, or I'll like their pictures, or like, but this was, you know, over a decade ago, but like, it really started to open my eyes to those things and give me an outside point of view. And so like to this day, I think he was one of the most important people to ever come into my life. And looking back, I mean, he came into my life within the like 5 or 6 years before he passed away. And so maybe I was an important person to come into his life. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's about the addiction thing. Let's see. Difference in addiction to weed is interesting. I wish I still liked weed like I used to. Yeah, that is an interesting thing for me. Like the weed thing. People make jokes like you turn 30 and all of a sudden the weed turns against you. When I was young, weed was like always fun. There was never a time I smoked where I did not have like a great time. And then I think the long-term abuse of it and long-term use of it, your brain just depletes all these other things. My buddy, who is now, I don't know, like probably almost 200 days of not smoking, he still will say like, it's weird. I thought I was going to like feel smarter, and like I just still feel dumb because he's been smoking every day for like 20 years. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, for me, like, ingesting like taking these drinks, I mean, they're literally called Delta and they're legal here. You can get, what I like about them is they have different ratios between the THC and the CBD, so I can just get something very light and as needed, right? Like rather than instead of like just doing it because I have to or because I want to. To me it is a much better, especially if I'm not smoking, it a much better and safer option than having to get on anti-anxiety medicine or something else like that. And so for me, it's just been, it's been great, man. It's been, I have no desire to smoke. And so that's been good. Even when life has gotten really hard. So yeah, but that's kind of what life is, right? Like it's a series of ups and downs. One mantra that I try to live by is if I can't change it, I can't let it change me. And that has been, I mean, applicable to every aspect of your life. If there's anything you're going through, ask yourself, can I change it? If the answer is no, well, then I can't let it change me. And then the second part of that is if you're doing okay, if the answer is yes, can I change it? Yes. Well, what am I going to do about it? I think it's a really, really important thing to really examine what is and what is not in our control. I've been playing chess for something else other than weed to immerse my mind to do. Oh, that's awesome. Lots of that type of stuff is really good. Well, one of the times when I quit weed, not quit weed, when I took all social media and everything off my phone, but I still needed to stare at stuff. I love numbers. I love like little thing about me is I am a world ranked Tetris player. I've played my whole life. I'm very into it, and it's one of the things I'm best at. I'm good at weird things like that, and so when I got rid of social media once, the thing that I got into instead was memorizing pi. And so I have like the first 300 digits of pi memorized for no reason other than it gave me an excuse to stare at my phone because I had this app that helps you like learn to memorize the digits of pi. And but now through that, I learned things called like a memory castle, if you know what that is. And I'm able to apply that to other things where I normally am not like good at remembering stuff. So, yes, definitely get the Tetris stuff on your phone. Tetris Effect on PlayStation is wild. If you've never played it, it's all like it lines up with all the music and stuff. It's crazy. Just look up Tetris Effect. But yeah. Whenever I'm around and I like someone's house phone, I ask it to recite the first 100 digits of pi. That's great. What's wild with so for me to say them out loud is an extra step because what I actually have memorized is so that the app is a keypad just like you would have on your phone, and I've memorized the pattern in which I do the numbers. So I can say the numbers out loud, but I have to physically close my eyes or look at a phone screen to see the pattern, and then it's a lot easier for me. So it's very it's interesting. So I don't know if anybody wants to bring up something they're going through currently and just wants some unbiased advice from an outside opinion. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to be here for that. I have a lot of close friends in my life that come to me for those things because, like I said, I mean, I am the second oldest person in the world with my heart condition. Everybody else has died. I happened to be born 6 months after the first successful surgery was done. I happened to be born in an area that was within an hour of the only hospital in the country that had the surgeon that could do it at the time. And I happened to get a pacemaker at the right time. I mean, it's like, it's kind of crazy. It sometimes makes me like question like how real all of this is. I've had 13 heart attacks. But I'm here and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Well, thank you, man. I'm actually the thing with the church actually really strengthened a lot of that, right? I'm going to a different church now, and people there are great. But it did definitely make me realize that, like, I mean, I also was kind of part of the problem when I was there. There was so many red flags that I ignored up until that point, and I truly believe that whether you want to call it God, your higher power, whatever it is, I truly believe that that God knew that the only thing that would get me to actually leave and actually do something would be if it involved children, because my child goes there too. And so when this thing happened, and there was children involved that were harmed and hurt, and I mean, still to this day, the people that are going there, they do not know. I am wrestling with this constantly because I don't know what to do. I was very specifically told by the pastor of the church. He brought up his lawyer, and if I make this public, like, I mean, dude, it was a really, really rough time. So I still don't know what to do, but I have been public to the people that I think need to know. When I resigned, I sent my letter to everyone that worked underneath of me. I was the creative director, so I had a big group of volunteers that worked underneath of me, and I did send a letter to there letting them know I'm resigning immediately because I feel as though the church has created an environment and is doing something that has made it unsafe for children, and I cannot be here. So I mean, it was tough. I left immediately, and but I feel so much peace. The part that I do not feel peace about is knowing that there are so many people there that still do not know and are being manipulated, and that part is really, really hard to sit back, because after I left the church, I found out, I mean, everyone that had left in the years before there when I'd been there came out of the woodworks with their stories, and it was just such a clear pattern of horrible, horrible things going on behind the scenes that even with me working there, I did not know. And that just, I mean, that changed my outlook so much on so many things. And so my heart breaks, but I also know that a lot of the people, like, they need some sort of community, and I don't want to be the one that's would literally, I mean, if this information all was public, there would be no more church there anymore. or at least it would be completely different leadership. There's no way the people there would be okay with the leadership there, knowing what I know now. And so it was horrible. How can you identify wolves in sheep's clothing looking back in hindsight? Well, the problem is it's really hard until you have hindsight, right? The red flags that came up. So in this situation, so many people that I trusted and cared about before that had told me, these aren't the people that you think they are. As long as they can get something from you, they will be your best friend. But if you ever question them about anything, if you ever bring up any sort of concern, they will turn their back on you immediately, and that's it. And just know that. And I would literally make that joke with people. I'd be like, well, they're my close friends. I don't ever want to get on their bad side. I would make that joke. Those are red flags. When they would ask me to say certain things to people that were not true, but they would ask me to say it that way, and I would say, well, why don't we just tell them the truth? And they would say, look, this is when we really need you to step up and show that you can be a leader, blah, blah, blah. And looking back, these are all the things I notice. But in the time, these are the people I'm supposed to trust. These are the leadership that's been there much longer than I have. And you don't want to believe the worst in people. But I do think it's also important that when you do finally find these things out are true, you have to make a decision. I in my letter, I said, this is the only way. I've always tried to lead with integrity. The only way I can do that now is leaving. And dude, it sucked. The amount, my money got cut in half from what my family makes now. We still have to pay all the same bills. We still have to do this. And I lost this because of nothing that I did, rather because of what they were doing behind the scenes, and it really, really sucked. And so here we are. I went to film. I personally. Oh, I'm 100% sure. That's what my brother does for a living. There's news articles about the situation that happened. It's just behind a paywall, and they have been very careful about this stuff. I have written a letter that I've rewritten so many times. Honestly, part of the reason I have not gone forward is just because I've been so anxious. I want to be able to put it behind me. I want to be free from it. And I thought by doing what I did, I would be free from it, but it's still, it's here. It's still with me. It breaks just 3 weeks ago, this person who is still at the church, the parents do not know. And they started the live stream early by accident, and I'm watching him, and he picks up a kid. He's hugging the kid, and it's I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I just want to be done with it. But it weighs heavy on my heart. And again, if the people that are there knew the things I know now, I don't think there would be a church. I think that it would be, and so I don't know if I'm being called to be that person or if that will be someone else. There's so many other people that know this stuff and are ready to come forward with their stories too. It's wild. And some of their stories are so much worse than what I experienced. So I don't know if I'm to wait until some of that happens. My biggest concern is that whether they have any ground to stand on or not, I know how these people work, and I know that this would cause them to lose everything. The pastor lives in a giant mansion and would have to give that up if he was not able to keep bringing in the amount from the church that he's bringing in. And so those types of things, I understand how that makes people do horrible things or justify horrible things. It's been a nightmare for me. So was it? Yes, it was a very big church. Yes. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm in I'm in a support group with other people who have been hurt and torn apart because of the actions of the leadership in this church. It's all kind of a family. So it's the pastor and his wife and the wife's mom, and they're all involved there. But the pastor does not talk to his family at all. They've tried to reach out. They confronted him about some of the things that were going on, and he blocked them. He cut them off. It's been wild. But I have reconnected with his family, and it's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible to, I was very close friends with their brother before, and so it's been a really good chance to just see, no, Aaron, you're not crazy. These are people that have hurt more people than you can imagine, and are still getting away with it, and more people will continue to get hurt. But I have done my part. I've said that if anybody asks me now, I am completely upfront with them. So, and maybe soon will be the time to kind of do that. So we'll see. There was a if you are good. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I see that all the time with political stuff. Like so what the comment says is, if you're good, you don't need to go out of your way to tell people you are. And that, dude, I see that with political stuff, right? Like sometimes the people that are the most calling out other people for everything, then you see them get canceled for the same thing. And I always like to say, people, it's so easy to judge other people for a sin you yourself would not commit. So like you see a lot of Christians who like aren't gay, like they might like judge somebody for gay, like because that's a sin that they might not struggle with. But also, and I'm not saying, just to be clear, I'm not saying that I think that that's a sin. I'm just using that as an example. On the flip side of that, it's even more so. I feel like some people will judge people for a sin that they want other people to think that they could never commit. And for me, like, what is a sin? It's anything that like separates you from like being the best version of yourself. Or which would ultimately, if you're a Christian, would be like the life that Jesus lived. If you're not religious, then anything that would keep you from being who you ultimately could absolutely be. So, however we define that. But yeah, man, I'm at peace for now. I am still dealing a lot mentally. Like dude, it's wild. You can watch. So I keep track of my weight, because I have some, an eating problem too, where sometimes I can just go when I'm stressed, I can go days without eating. And so it's cool. It's crazy. You can watch my weight app where I was doing really good and gaining a lot of weight and stuff. And as soon as this thing happened, March 13th, actually, you could see it on my weight, was the last time I hit my peak of where I was trying to go, and then I literally lose weight so quick because of how stressful this thing was. I lost income, I couldn't eat, the toll it took on my mental health was crazy, and they did not care. The way that the pastor talked to me in the meeting I had with him, it was such an evil look, it was such a complete disregard, and it broke my heart. So, and it changed how I will trust people probably forever. This was I'm calling him this was a guy that's my age. We were closest friends. I was in charge of the music stuff. He was the pastor, and it was heartbreaking. So yeah, zero accountability. Oh well. That's horrible, man. I'm so sorry. But yeah, man. Oh, definitely. Definitely. As far as looking back now, I don't know that I've ever, in my opinion, I don't know that I've ever met someone who is as different as who they pretend to be. This person preaches grace nonstop. That's his entire message, is grace, grace, grace. Yet he has absolutely zero for anyone that disagrees with him or that confronts him. It's wild. And now that I've left, everybody feels comfortable, because when I'm still working there, nobody is going to come to me with their stories and stuff like that. As soon as I left, everyone came to me with their stories, and it's so much worse than I could have ever imagined. I mean, knowing that according to these people, this person is willing to just outright knowingly lie, knowing that they have this certain amount of power, so people are going to automatically believe them. And it is, dude, it's rough. It's been tough. Dude, you know what, man? It was fine. I think I did need to be there for a time. I think that being there was a very positive thing on my life overall. It did, for 7 years, it was a huge part of my finances. It brought me back to a certain level of faith. It brought me to, it changed a lot of aspects of my life in a lot of positive ways. And so I'm very grateful for it. And I'm also equally grateful to be gone. I'm so, so grateful to be gone. So, yeah, I think they do probably know what they're doing on the inside, but I think that people tend to justify, like, the things that they would keep saying is like, well, we don't want to put this guy's business out there. What if he was wrongly accused? What about, no, I mean, he had this guy that did this stuff had a jury trial, and he was convicted originally to a year in jail. Then that got changed to probation, and nobody knew. And part of the terms is he's not supposed to be around any school where children are present. Technically, it's not a school, although now a school is moving in there. But I mean, they sent him to events with handicapped kids. They sent it. I mean, it's crazy. I really got to be careful what I'm saying, because of like all the stuff that will be coming out eventually. But it's crazy. What the guy was saying earlier about the documentary. If somebody made a documentary about what this church is doing behind the scenes, they could probably sell it to any streaming platform around. Absolutely. Because of how wild it is. And the more I learn, the deeper and deeper it goes. It's crazy. So, yeah, but my heart breaks for the people that are still there, because they don't know. And they have no idea. And in order for them to know, it's going to have to completely break their trust and break everything that they thought they had in these people. And I don't want to make them suffer the same way that I've been suffering with this burden of this information. And so, I don't know, it's tough. Somebody reached out to me the other day and asked about it and said they really need to know. I also know that this person's in recovery, and that church is the reason they're not on heroin. And by me giving them this information and this, I think they would absolutely lead them to be back on heroin. And so I told them I don't think it's good for them to know everything right now, but just please know that it's not as it seems, and more will come to light soon. So, for God's will in the world again. Yeah, I don't know. This is wild how this has become like a religious stream. That was not my intention with this, but I'm not going to say the church on here because of just for legal reasons. But if there's a way to message me or anything, I'm happy to send anybody information. I'm not, it's fine. But because when this first happened and we started to try to bring this forward to people, I was specifically told by the pastor that if I continued to do that, his lawyer would get involved. He did not have any reason as to why that would happen, but it's not something that I want to. I don't know that would be good for my mental health right now. So that's why I'm hoping someone else will kind of just get the ball rolling. But it'll happen. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. I know that 100%. I'm confident in that. So, enough people know that it's going to be good. It's going to be, people will finally be protected. So, but the last thing I want is for that church to be hurt. And by the church, I mean the people of that church. The people, like, there are so many good people there that do so many good things, and they have no idea. So, like, the last thing I want is to cause division or strife or any of that. But then I also wrestle with the, like, okay, by not going, like, fully public about that stuff, am I now just being the same thing that they were being? I don't know. I know that there's a huge lawsuit going on with TC. I don't know what TC is. But this church also had a bunch of lawsuits that was not, I was not aware of and stuff like that. And so I found out about all of that after I left. And it's just, dude, it's the fact that I was on staff there for 7 years and he was one of my closest friends and they didn't tell me any of this. I mean, dude, I handed my child many times to this man in front of the pastor, in front of the leadership, and they all knew. And I worked there and they never told me. They never said anything. They let me do this. And, like, dude, that's something I don't know how I can ever forgive somebody for that. You allowed me to put my daughter in a dangerous situation, and you never told me. And the only reason I found out is because a different parent that went to the church called me because he was so concerned because he brought it up to the leadership and felt like they were doing nothing about it. So he then brought it to me. We were talking about something else, actually about recovery stuff. And then the subject changed to that because he asked me, how are you handling like that? Because he assumed I knew. He thought there's no way I'm on staff and I don't know. And that was the beginning of the end. So, I don't know what Teen Challenge is, but I think anything with the word teen challenge in it is probably going to be a little sketchy. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. This is like turned very much into kind of just me venting about that. That's not what I was intending to do, but it has weighed heavy on my heart. Only adults, all addicts. Why would they call it teen challenge then? That's very interesting. I'll have to look into that. One of the the pros of religion is it can really genuinely help people change their lives for the better. The cons is a lot of people can very easily use it to manipulate people and get away with really horrible things. If you're aware of that, it's a lot easier to protect yourself. So I don't know, but I'm here. I'm grateful. I'm alive, and I'm here to help. I'm going to try to start doing this more often. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe and smash that like button, and we'll all have a great time. And I don't know. We'll just keep doing this for a little while and see what happens. Yeah, it's really tough, because what I want to do is just tell everybody and yell about it and just let everyone know that these are, in my opinion, very scummy people that use religion in order to justify being able to get away with horrible things. That's my opinion. And it's my opinion because of all of the evidence I have to support that opinion. So, it's funny too, because all the people that still go there, when I talk to them, they're like, "We're so on the fence. We don't know what to do." Dude, you know, you're on the fence because you know that what is going on is wrong, and you're still there because I get it. You don't want to leave the church. You don't want to make more of a stink. I totally understand, but like, and you're still there, and so that's on you, and that's something that in the future you're gonna have to deal with. And for those that don't know, it is what it is. So let's talk about something else. This is trying to kind of get away from that. Can you talk more about the Bible and what your favorite stories are, like personal times you felt God in your life? Yeah. Well, so I am not a biblical literalist. As in, there's a lot of parts of the Bible that I don't necessarily take literally. I think that it's, for me, I guess the biggest times that I've felt, like, let's look at one recently where I've really felt God's presence in my life, would have to be, all right, okay, so this is a couple weeks ago. I had felt such a calling that it was time to stop smoking again. I was smoking, and I had been really like meditating and praying about it. Look, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I just need a sign, because I do go back and forth. I'm like, well, I feel better when I smoke, blah, blah, blah. And we were playing a gig at this casino, and outside there was like these billboards, and it goes through a bunch of different ads, and I'm literally like saying this, and then as I look up, this ad comes up, and it said, "Are you addicted?" And then it was like a recovery thing. But there's so many ads that go through there. And then, so I'm on stage, and I'm singing, and I happen to look up, and I see that same sign. It reminds me of earlier when I saw it, and as soon as I look at it, it's the addiction thing again. Then it happened a third time, and it happened a fourth time. Call it God, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. It was an absolute sign to me that was like, all right, I get it, absolutely. And same thing, there was a time recently where I had felt really good a couple months ago, like unbelievably good for like a week straight. And then I got really dark after that for a little while. And I was up in my room, and not saying this out loud, but I was curled up in a ball, and I was just saying over and over, why would you give it to me and then take it away? Why would you give it to me and then take it away? Why would you give me peace and then take away my peace? What's wrong? Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, crying out. And in such distress, and out of nowhere, my daughter, who never says this, out of nowhere, I hear, "Daddy," from downstairs. "What?" "I want to give you a hug." out of nowhere, out of nowhere. And I just broke down. And it was exactly what I needed in that moment. She is not a hugger or any of that stuff. And so little things like that is where it just really, it really, it was really significant. Sorry. Wow. So, yeah, that was a really cool time yet recently. And if you have kids, you understand how much that can mean. So, play guitar. Show us the schlong. Hell yeah. It would be incredibly disappointing. You'd be like, you'd probably feel really good about yourself. You'd be like, oh, I didn't know they made him in that size. What were we saying? Do I play guitar? I play guitar a little bit. Okay, here's a cool thing about me. I was born with a condition with my left hand where I cannot move my fingers separately. They all move together like it's a glove. My right hand, fine. If I try to just move my pointer finger, that's what it does. If I try to just move my thumb, I can close them all. But like if I just focus on one, it's really hard. Because of that, I can't really I can make chords and stuff with this hand, but it's really hard for me to even hold a pick. So like if you watch, I play bass a lot, but it's all one finger. So if I put pressure here, all my fingers do the same motion. So even like I'm a pianist and a drummer. So when I drum, my fingers stick out like this. When I play piano, it's a lot of right hand. And my piano teacher actually taught me this. We came up with this system when I was young where I can do this pivot thing. And I've actually gotten really fast with being able to use my pinky and my thumb and move around. And I can also kind of use my pointer. Like I can kind of make like this shape. But if I try to bend them, they'll all move together. So, it's a little bit of a curse. God made me a musician, but also made my one hand messed up. So, but at the same time, it's led to like me learning other stuff. Don't know that I would have taken drums on so early if it hadn't been for this, because my piano teacher was like, well, drums, he can hold the drumsticks and stuff. So, and that's my favorite thing to play and what I feel like I'm probably most proficient at. If you want to look it up, I played drums for a metal band for my entire 20s called This or the Apocalypse. You can look them up. They were we had a pretty good following, especially back then in the 2009 to like 2014 era of that like metalcore. And I got to like see the world and tour and do all that stuff. And now I get to be able to be home. So, that's awesome, Kyle. It's so interesting because it really does. So like, even if you're not religious, the way that you can listen to what would be what I would call like the voice of God in your head it's ultimately the voice of love. So like the thing that is this thought loving? Is this thought kind? Is this thought patient? Like all of the things that we learn, if it is those things, then that's a thought of God, from God. And if it's not those things, then that is not what that is. And that's what I've kind of, at this point, at least feel. And I've also come to terms with like, even if it's not true, the belief in it changes people's lives. So like, I don't know. Ironically, I think it was RFK that was talking about it. This was years ago, about how he was Catholic and then he was an atheist for a while. And then somebody had said to him like, well, if you just act as though it is true, then you'll start to see the signs. And, whether you like him or dislike him is regardless of this point. And so that's what I've tried. And what's weird is my wife, who never grew up religious, all of a sudden out of nowhere has really taken a hard turn into this stuff. But I've also seen such a dramatic change in her and the way she's kind and the way she listens and the way, and like, that's been awesome. So, yeah, it's been good. So I don't know. I wrote a worship song last year, and it was really kind of just all about my journey. And there was a pretty prominent video of it on YouTube, and when I left the church, they took that video down as well as any other videos that I was in. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to get it back, but it's okay. Wasn't meant to be, and I'll I have. It's The words are, I'll give you a little bit of it. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a broken mess like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I had to be blind so I could see. I've always felt you walking there beside me. All right, that's the second. It's been a while since you've always been the source of my salvation. You were always there to catch me when I'm fall. May my voice tell every nation that Father, Son, and Spirit's Lord of all. Second verse, I ask myself how am I worthy of all the love you gave to me? Your blood was spilled, you showed me mercy, and you laid down your life on Calvary. I've always felt you walking there beside me, even when I was ashamed to claim your name. Your still small voice, it lives inside me, so how could I ever be the same? Singing hallelujah, hallelujah. And then the bridge, Father up in heaven, holy is your name, creator of the universe, who bore the whole world's pain. You've always been beside me. I've always known your voice. You've always been there all along, guiding every choice. If I cry out, hallelujah, if I fall down to my knees, well, there's a million reasons I can think of why you should have never loved me. But you're the Father of the broken, of which I am the greatest of them. But forgiveness isn't just for those that seem like perfect men. Perfect man. I don't know, it's a lot of words. I'd have to like look back, but they are words that, I mean, it's my whole kind of story, and it just, I don't know. Let's see. You should put one. Well, thank you. About the Dream On thing. What do I think about autotune, melodic hip hop, all that stuff? I don't know. It's very specific, right? Like, I think in general, technology is a tool, and I think that in general, because computers, autotune, all of that stuff, they made it so you don't have to be a good musician. Even like, look at AI now. Anybody can do it now. Back in the day, you had to be a good singer because there was no autotune. So if you were out of tune, everyone would know. Look at Michael Jackson, one of the most perfect singers of all time. For me, I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus by the Jackson 5, where Michael Jackson is singing it, and he's like 9, 8 years old, 10 years old. It is a perfect vocal performance. The pitch, everything about it is perfect, and he's a kid. We don't have stuff like that anymore. You do have great singers out there, but they're not the ones that are going to get famous, because it's not about the talent anymore. It's about how you can build an online presence, because that's what's going to generate the money. It used to be that your talent would be what is able to generate money. Now it's your online social media. This is an interesting thing. So I went to a festival a few years ago that I had been to many years. I had gone all the time, and I had not gone in a while, and I came back. This was the first time I'd gone since TikTok had become a thing, and the artists were so horrible, and they had no stage presence. They had no ability to perform live. They didn't know what they were doing. But what had happened is they had songs online that they had put on TikTok that had blown up. They had a TikTok song, one song that was huge, and so they were playing these festivals. But they had no idea what they were doing. It was not a memorable performance. They'll be here this week. They're going to be gone next week. For me, I'm grateful because I am not famous. Thank goodness. It's something that I decided a long time ago I did not want for me. And I've somehow figured out a career where I am able to do music full-time, perform music full-time, and still come home to my family at the end of the night, and I have this beautiful house, and my bills are paid and stuff from doing music, yet I don't have to be, I can be just famous enough that, like, if you are where I live, like, everybody kind of knows me right around here, but that's also because I've just lived here forever, right? But, like, outside of that bubble, like, that's it. Like, I'm not, like, I used to play drums in that metal band, but like a million people have played drums in different metal bands and stuff. So like I have somehow found this incredible balance where I have been able to have a career in music and not have to worry about all the negative things that come with fame. And I am so grateful. So it's been good. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, like auto-tune, that's such a broad thing because like everybody uses tuning a little bit. For me, I'll even spot tune my vocals if there's something that I'm like, it was a little pitchy, I can make it a little better. But that's honestly because at this point, we are so accustomed to hearing everything be perfect with the tuning and everything that in like anything that's slightly different than that sounds off to us. So, but I mean, like that Dream On cover, that's live. That's like, there's no auto-tune in that. If you want to look up my band, it's called It's All Good. Look up It's All Good band on YouTube and you can find it. Please keep this channel like to yourself or whatever, because it's not private for me, but it is like, I feel like I can speak a lot more freely because my parents and stuff don't know about this channel. And so I'm not opposed to telling them, but I feel like I would censor more of what I'm saying, even if it's subconscious, right? So yeah. Hello, all three of you. We could have a foursome. So yeah, I don't know. I have a good balance because, like, while I still do work at churches and stuff like that, I also host a live karaoke where I say wild, crazy stuff. But I'm upfront with who I am. This is who I am, and I feel like I'm able to create a good balance between bringing like my religious background or just like the peace I have from those things to my job in the music industry and vice versa. Like there were people at the church when I worked there that would come to me over the pastor about certain things all the time because they knew that I was the person that worked there, that they could actually say anything in front of them. I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to feel differently about them. And I might give them a less spiritual answer, maybe a more practical answer and what they're maybe looking for. So, yeah, that stuff was all great. So it's been officially an hour. This is my first live stream. I really appreciate it. Kyle, seriously, thank you for being on here and entertaining me for a little bit. Let's do it again maybe tomorrow night, same time. We'll do a later one. I'll get on and we'll just kind of see if we can build this a little bit at a time. I'll say what I say at the beginning of all my other videos. Welcome to Quitting Together, where recovery does not have to be done alone. Recovery for you might look different than somebody else. And sometimes we don't know the things we need to recover from. So if there's something, a problem you're having in your life, feel free to let me know and I'll give you my unbiased, or my, I guess biased technically, but my, unfiltered opinion on what I think you should do. Even if it's like kind of a tough love approach, sometimes that's what I find works best for me. So, well, thanks, Kyle. It's, I'm glad to be back, man. It was, the channel was starting to stress me out. I was getting like if a video didn't get a certain amount of views, I would like get upset, or like if the thumbnail, I'd be like changing the thumbnail, and like, that's stupid. Like, I don't care how many people watch. You're pretty much the only person that's been on here this whole time, and I'm so grateful. So, this time around, I'm not going to worry about that stuff, and, I'm just going to post and ghost. I'm just going to kind of do my thing, so. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to go to bed. Take the Bible more literally, man. Jesus rose from the dead 2008. So here's the thing, Kyle. I have a degree in biblical history. That's actually what I went to school for. That's why I don't take some of it literally, because I can't. There are certain things that I would have to not know what I know in order to I don't believe that Genesis, I don't believe that the story of Adam and Eve is literal. I believe it's a really good story, and it's man's interpretation of, when it was written, they had no idea how the world was created. And I do believe, God created the spark that is started everything, but I can't take that necessarily literally. So that's what I mean by a biblical literalist, right? Even certain things with Moses, we don't have any records of a lot of that stuff. And so but it could be true. It might be, who knows? I'm just going off of what I know, but I went to school for music, but also biblical history, and I know a lot about that stuff. That's actually it's cool you say that, because I was kind of having that conversation with, when I was praying recently about that stuff, and how, I know all this stuff. It's very, how am I supposed to believe when I know all of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I felt so audibly in my heart, it just means you're going to have a little more faith. And that was weird, because I'm not, I was a very adamant atheist for a long time, for probably 10 years of my life. I would argue with everyone over religion. And from a purely practical, non-spiritual standpoint, I still, from a logical standpoint, my arguments make sense. I can't steel man a lot of them, right? So, um, well, it's fine to believe that's literal. I can tell you, if you actually are open to it, I can tell you the reasons why it really can't be. But I'm also not here to convince anybody otherwise. So, um, if somebody wants to believe that, that's completely fine. So, um, but I mean, okay, I'll give it. I mean, if we're talking from the beginning, right? Like, let's look at the day. Here's a really easy one: the days of creation. Well, light was created before the sun was created, which is already strange enough. But actually, the other thing is that the water and the fish and things were created before the sun was created, or not the fish. Sorry, the plants. Plants were created before the sun was created. So even if you want to say they weren't, if you could say they're literal days, but if for people that say they're not literal days, so how were plants surviving for years without uh, the sun? And also, if there's no sun, what was the earth revolving around? There can't be any gravity or anything if there's no sun for the earth to revolve around. Nothing would be able to stick to the earth. So it's the little things like that that just, I mean, and that's just one of them. There's hundreds that I can give you, but little things like that that just make it so it's like, to me, this is man's best attempt to describe something they didn't know at the time, and it's still a beautiful story of redemption and of like all of these things, but like to take it literally, I mean, again, it's like like God would have had to create the earth one way and then completely change the laws of everything after a certain day, so that plants, for whether it was a day or thousands of days, were fine without sunlight, and the earth was fine not rotating and just sitting stagnant. And then all of a sudden the sun came, and it was like all of a sudden now the earth is able to rotate and gravity can exist and stuff like that. So I'm just giving you one example, but that's why, to me, there are certain things I can't take literally, because again, like I spent 6 years in college studying from a Christian school. I went to a Christian school too, but it was not a Christian school that took the Bible 100% literally. They know it, parts of it, but again, if somebody wants to, I'm not here to try to, like, my goal is not to to convince anyone otherwise. I'm just telling you why, to me, it seems like it can't be literal unless God somehow made plants and other stuff for whether it's a day or for years without, you know what I mean? So, no, that's irrelevant to the point I'm making. You're saying that plants would be able to survive without the sun, when we know that sunlight is what plants feed off of. Even bigger than the plant thing is that the earth would have nothing to rotate around, which means there would be no gravity, there would be no water the water couldn't stick to the earth. So either God created it and then said it's good, but then changed the laws after he said it's good to be completely different, or it's a man's attempt to describe a story that, and they got a little bit of a, like, different. It's fine. Like, I can't, but that's just one example. I mean, I'm not going to be, I'm not here to talk about all the things that have made it really hard for me to take a lot of that stuff literally. But to me, that does not change anything about the spiritual aspect of the stuff, or about the redemption story, or about the beauty of all of that stuff. So, but again, people can think differently. I have no problem with that. So, but that's, for me, that's like one of the reasons. So, yeah. The same thing with like the ark story. I mean, I can say that there was a flood. I can also say that it's physically impossible for certain animals that are in Australia to have made it to the boat. They wouldn't have been able to ever do it. There's little things like that is just, you can use that, look at that and say, well, like, it doesn't exist, or you can look at it and say, like, okay, well, obviously there's like some little things in here that might be not 100% exactly the way it happened, and that's okay. People, these are, it's inspired by God, but it's written by man, and man is fallible, right? So I think that you could absolutely say that sometimes that could be the case, but I do also think that there are certain things that it's important to be honest about, right? To be intellectually honest about. So, um, I don't know. I think that's just like anything else, it can be a double-edged sword, right? Like, just like this church I was just talking about, like, doesn't mean that all churches are bad, but it does mean that that church, the leadership there, in my opinion, should not have that position if this is how they, if that's how they handle things. So, um, I've come to just find that there are very few things in life that are as black and white as they seem. Um, and I'm okay with that. So, um, what I would say to you, Kyle, is whatever you decide, either way, just know that even if it's not literal, it's a still, if there are parts that aren't literal, it's still okay, right? Like there are plenty of other things in the Bible that we don't take literally. Like the Bible says like multiple times that the earth is flat. I'm not saying that that's wrong or right. There, no one in the entire world when the Bible was written would have possibly known that the earth is round. So like when he says preach the world to the four corners of the earth, well, that actually translates to them literally talking about corners because they thought the earth was flat at the time. They had no way to know otherwise. It would be wild for them to have assumed anything else. It doesn't mean that the Bible is wrong in those things. It just means simply that it was written at a time where people had no idea, and that's okay. And so that's kind of like, I'm saying, like, that's kind of the same thing with this. So okay, well, Kyle, then we're gonna have I like that we can still have these conversations and stuff. We're obviously going to disagree on some of that stuff, but it's cool. I like that you're able to be open and honest about it and stuff. And you know what? At least you are. I will give you this. You stick to your values. And when you say you take the Bible literally, you genuinely do. And so, you know, who am I to tell you otherwise? Yeah. I'm happy for you to believe that. And it's fine. I'm not here to convince you otherwise, but I appreciate that you feel comfortable and open enough to be able to bring that up. Seriously. Um, that's a whole nother topic, so. But, oh well. If it makes you feel any better, I believe that we probably didn't go to the moon. Does that help? We're probably on the same page with that one. Uh, so yeah. I believe that Epstein definitely didn't kill himself, and I believe that this is the craziest cover-up we've ever seen in American history. I believe that it's absolutely insane that that they just think that we're this dumb. I think it's really cool that this is like the most unified we've ever been politically. I can talk about this with any of my friends, regardless of where they stand politically, and we all have the exact same opinion. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, but also like just because one thing is a conspiracy doesn't mean that everything is. But I think that's like part of the problem, right? Like I'm sure like with like you probably like Eddie Bravo and stuff, and like just because some things are a conspiracy, it doesn't mean that everything is. And but also, I mean, COVID changed a lot of my feelings about a lot of that stuff, because it was the first time we saw, in at least in my lifetime, something so clear of people giving one information and then literally finding out none of that is true. And they changed it, and nobody apologized. Nobody said like, well, we just thought that's what we thought at the time. Like, so that stuff was interesting. But in general, I mean, I don't have any sort of political affiliation. Ask me about a specific topic and I'll tell you what I think about that topic. And if it leans left or right, I don't know. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me. I think that by creating party systems, all that does is make us like sports teams and segregates us. And so ask me how I feel about a specific topic and I'll tell you. And that's kind of, you know what I mean, how I feel about it. So, endless universe equals atheism. I don't really know what you mean by that. I don't think that there's anybody that really believes that the universe is endless. I think, I mean, I think the general consensus is that it does have a boundary because that's how time works. But like, even with, I mean, how would you explain light years then otherwise, right? Like, if we know a star is X amount of light years away, it would mean that either God created the star already a certain distance from like us, or that the Earth has to be much older than like 6,000-7,000 years old, you know. So, but again, this is just my thoughts on it. Um, well, I would say I just disagree with that. I do a lot of photography, and I know the argument you're making, but I don't really know how to answer it without like going into a long explanation. So, um, well, I'm glad that that is what helps you. Um, to me, I want to. Let me ask you this: why do you think the Earth is flat? Why do you think they want us to believe the Earth is round? Like, what would be like? What is your thought of that, Kyle? Like, what would be the reasoning that they would not want people to know the Earth is flat? And are the other planets flat as well, or they're just in this enclosed firmament or whatever you would call it? Um, let's see. Well, that could be true. You could say that, but that regardless of what the emotional state that it could bring, that doesn't really like clarify whether it's true or not, right? Like, faith is an important tool, but faith is not a good tool to measure truth, right? People can have faith in the wrong thing. People have faith in the wrong religions or wrong things all the time. So it's not necessarily a tool to determine if something is true or not. And I think that that's important to keep in mind. It's a tool for lots of other things. It's a tool that can help you get through, or even like you're talking about now, you have faith that these things are true, and and it helps you believe that more in God and stuff. That's fine. If it makes your life better to believe it, I'm all in. Um, doesn't mean that I necessarily agree, but I do think that if it makes you feel better and it allows you to be a better person, then I'm all for it. So, okay, well, the Bible can say that. That's pretty easy to disprove, because if the Earth was 10,000 years old, we would only be able to see stars in the sky that are within 10,000 light years of us. Um, and so anything further than that would not even be visible. Um, because we can see things that are farther away than that, the only way that that's possible is if the light has taken that much time to reach our eyes. And so, that kind of, even if you want to say the Earth is young, that kind of shows, I mean, the universe would have to be older unless you have some sort of explanation against that. So, and that's just how light works. I mean, it would have to be that one of the universal laws is not correct. So, but I don't know. It's interesting for sure. But I don't know. See if you have anything else, and then I'm probably gonna go to bed soon. I'm starting to get the tired eyes. Thank you guys again for coming in, checking it out. All three of us. It's like we can have a little kumbaya circle over here. You can ask me anything in the world. I'm an open book. No, I think that I'm a pretty, I think, yeah, obviously people can be deceived, but I could say the same thing about this, right? Do you think maybe you've been deceived as well with the deception that you've seen in the world? I mean, you already are going into lots and lots of conspiracies because of the deception. So I think that I will believe anything if there's evidence to support it. And sometimes that could be spiritual, whatever. But I would need to have a really good explanation as to how light is able to break the laws of physics in order to justify that stuff. So, I mean, we've now we have LiDAR scans and stuff of civilizations that have been that are buried under the ground that we didn't even know about, that it's taken way longer than that for that amount of dirt and sediment and stuff to even land on top of them, and we can see the years and stuff that are different. So I understand that I can be deceived, or anybody could, but I've spent a really long time investigating this stuff, and even with coming back to my faith and still believing in this stuff, there are certain things that I just can't pretend that I don't know that information, if that makes sense. Because yeah, the same thing you're saying to me, I could say to you about what your belief is. That could be applicable to anyone. So yeah, sure, I'm sure I could absolutely be deceived, and I'm sure in the future I'll look back and see things that I believe right now that in the future I won't believe, or things I don't believe right now that in the future I will believe. That's part of the growth of it. That's part of the reason that, I mean, I was very Christian. I've been very atheist. I was a leftist before, and I've leaned more right before. It's because as I learn new information, I'm not tied to any of my ideas. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And that's okay. But I have to at least be able to be shown why I'm wrong, so that way I'm not just going to accept somebody's word for it. So I hope that makes sense. Look at these sexy legs. About to get a little ball slip soon, so. We'll do one more, Kyle, and then I'm gonna pass out. It's the one thing that is tough with not smoking is when I can't sleep. Used to be I would just smoke and then pass out, and with this, that's not the case. So let's see. Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. And that's why, major on the majors, minor on the minors. This isn't that big of a deal, right? I don't think that whether Adam and Eve's story is exact or not has anything to do with ultimately this story of salvation, right? So yeah, totally. Some people, if they hear the word conspiracy, they'll automatically shut down. I think a lot more people are way more open to it now because of the COVID stuff. And then, I mean, with this Epstein stuff, I mean, nobody's going to ever be able to say that they don't think that the government covers up stuff and hides stuff. It'll be impossible to say that after this. So, yeah, I'm going to go to bed. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for checking in, Kyle. This was awesome. Maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe if you want to see more long-form content of stuff I actually prepare. And we'll see. Let's see. Much more about all this. Really driving. Well, it's cool. I'm really happy for you, man. And I'm always happy to talk about this stuff. Shoot me a message or something. So I have a way to conversate with you. Maybe you can do split lives now too, so maybe I'll bring you on one time, we can talk about stuff. I'm yawning, which is a good sign. Good night.